Orji in the house. He has said that within the boundaries of Nigeria, the amazing capital assets of this country, human capital assets of this country, will seem to be in the negative. But when you look at the brain drain and the level and the number of Nigerians who are just packing their baggages and doing Andrew on us, then you know that the human capital assets of Nigeria outside of here are actually celebrated. Now, so you already defined the fact that unemployment is incredibly dismal within the country. So how can we change that? How can people begin to creatively become their own bosses or their own employer?
There are several causes of unemployment, especially in Nigerian firm. Theoretically, you talk about unemployment, in three dimensions. The structural unemployment that occurs because of skills gap, what the industry is looking for.
And what the other fellow has to
applicants
offer.
don't have it. Then the frictional unemployment, the fact that it takes time for people to get job, whether a new job or a change of job. And then, of course, the cyclical unemployment, the fact that the business cycle in the economy, goes with it. Employment happens when we have, a boom, and when there's a recession, unemployment will take, place. But in Nigeria, there's a combination of all these factors, that causes, unemployment in Nigeria. But to talk about, in practical terms, the economy is somehow in a box corner, because the key sector of the economy, that's the oil and gas, where so much noise is being made, is not absorbing so many people. In fact, the employment in that sector is very slow, if at all it happens. Bans are usually what we hear from most IOCs, that's international oil companies, yes, that there's a ban, on further employment. The oil servicing firms,
meaning that therefore
they cannot employ except
they already put a ceiling.
Yes, a seal or a ceiling, on the employment. Except somebody retires or leaves, they can now surreptitiously bring people in, but no activity is happening there. In the banking industry, it's also restricted. We used to have 80 banks. Now, because of size and all of that, we have about 24 banks. They are doing their best, but they can't also and then the telecommunication industry of late just came to also help. But there's still a lot of people out there looking for jobs that cannot find jobs. So we need to open up other sectors of the economy. That's the point I'm making.
Yes.
The single most important sector we need to open to make this economy have a good lease of life
buoyancy.
Buoyancy is agricultural sector. Because we have a great a climate, a great arable land, a great agricultural resources in this country in terms of weather and natural resources. We have very wonderful farmlands across the whole nation.
But Orji, that has been this is like a broken record. I mean, this question of agricultural investment and all that has been a sing-song of many governments.
And yet nothing.
So why is that? That's what I'm asking you.
Because we don't take ourselves seriously. Policies come up to encourage, maybe microcredit, farming or agricultural expansion projects and all of that, post-harvest technology and all kinds of things. But we do not implement. When monies are released, somebody up there sees it as his own part of national cake and he squanders it. And there we go, white elephant projects here and there. Otherwise, I love what the current Minister of Agriculture is doing, but I need people to also support it because he can't do it alone. The kind of effort that man, Dr. Udemezue has put in, if he has got the support and the buy-in of other stakeholders, would have gone further with some of the projects he has. But we're almost still like making we're not seeing the effect. Because you bring out money for fertilizer, some people will divert it. You will say, okay, let's do risk sharing in agricultural lending. Let's share the risk. Some banks will still not want to share the risk because the risk is for them is too huge. And government does not take the initiative. Government cannot abdicate its role for the private sector. It cannot be done. Because we are so inefficient in our public sector, we want to push everything
to the private sector.
There's no venture capital, no microcredit. You cannot get money easily to run your small farm or your snail farming or anything you want to do. How much more the big farm projects. And we can also not do PPP, public-private partnership very well to bring in foreign investors who will bring these huge farm settlements and post-harvest technology, preservation and processing. Because we export the things that we that we need and import the things that we don't need. That raw thing is what we need to bring into our manufacturing system, add value to them, and then begin to export quality. And when you export after adding value, you get so much revenue from it. But when you export at just the base level of raw materials, maybe farm produce, you get nothing, near to nothing. And the white man, the Western, the developed economies will add more value to it and give it back to you at ×4 the price.
What you exported to them originally.
Yes.
Now, there's to be some incredible disconnect between what you are saying that we should be doing, that is invest in agriculture, and what the younger generation is actually periscoping. The younger generation would want to be in
banking hall, right?
Yes.
Okay,
like
fine.
you, rather than go to.
That's why we're talking about infrastructure. If agriculture can be made to be cool, I don't know how to use the word sexy, for young people.
Yes.
They want to see agriculture cool and attractive, trendy. You can have your iPad, your BB, and everything in your farmland. Yes. Whether you are driving tractor, when you have your break time, you can have a very chilly, cold room to rest because and you have a nice quarter. If we have very well planned agricultural schemes,
such visionary, yes.
We have huge agricultural settlements somewhere, and we build low, cost housing schemes around there. So young people know that once you're working in this company, you have a 3-bedroom or a 2-bedroom apartment for you, and it's even well furnished, and you are there. But we know that when we produce these things and we export them, look at even palm oil, for example. Malaysia came here and tapped it, and they're doing great things with it. And they are one of the greatest countries, emerging economies in this world, based on palm oil only. If you have a palm oil production, it's a long chain.
Yes.
From harvesting the fruits from the farm, from getting the oil, from cracking the kernel, and producing soap. So many things. Nothing is wasted in that value chain. But if you can get a big settlement where the whole value chain, we have the people that get the plant, people
yes.
that in a big farm settlement, and we make it attractive. Young people will work there. All they want is at the end of the month, pay me an attractive. I can be in that farm. Have my we have parties, we have social events, we have football, events and all of that. People can stay in the farm and work.
Now this is the kind of creative leadership or creative visioning that Nigerians are asking for.
Yeah.
So why won't young persons also go into the political space? Someone like you.
Okay.
It's always been a critical question that why would not the good persons not want to join in making political change by taking up
young people would want to join, but the vested interests, the principalities and powers, who are over 80 years, who are over 70 years, who are over 65 years, who insist that they must become the chairman of all the parties, who must select who must give in the ticket to vie, they make it scary for young people to come near. Because if you go there, how much money do it's still money politics. Yes.
How much money?
Even the normal process where you don't have to pay the party, pay the form, it's expensive. No, not talk about how much money you're going to have to muzzle your way through when the powers that be have billions of money to pump in any state. And once they fix their eyes on any position, it doesn't matter whether you have a best candidate in a poor, ex-banker, who has all the ideas. Or ex-oil and gas staff, or ex-telecommunication staff, or somebody who has taught a professor in the university, who has ideas on what to do, or a teacher who thinks that if I'm giving the close sector, I'll do wonders with it. That teacher, who are you to come to the post to challenge somebody who is being, sponsored from Abuja? That's a problem. We have obstacles everywhere, but that's not the reason for young people to stay away.
Give up.
We must keep striving. At the right time, those who are some of us who think we have value to add, we will come in there. But we must come with the right attitude and the right perspective. Let it not be a case where we know the solution before we get in, and when you get in, the whole thing disappears, and you join the train. That's why I like people like the late Dora Akonyele. May God bless her soul. At the critical times in this nation, she had spoken right,
yes,
and she had done the right thing. If not for the Anambra gubernatorial thing, she's the kind of woman I want people to look up to in terms of leadership. Speaking the truth, even when your life is in danger. Over there in Abuja, when the issue of Yaradua, whether he was fit to not, people were trying to do all kinds of funny things. She came out to say the truth. This man, deserves to be given this position as a vice president, and that's the right thing to do. And as she spoke that word, many people began to gravitate towards that, position. But nobody was, honest and bold enough to say it. People know the truth, But to act it and implement is a problem. We know the solutions to the Nigerian problems, but who will take the first step to solving it? Even if it means denying his own people, denying himself, denying his tribe, but standing for Nigeria.
Now,
that's what we need.
Now, we seem to have agreed now that there's a little bit of absence of national, as it were, national ethos for Nigerians to buy into. So they rather, revert to ethnic groupings, to communal, yes.
But nobody has shown the light. Nobody has shown the light.
Now, but why can't we use, therefore, the communities to begin to push people to look Nigeria? Why? I mean, virtually every community in Nigeria, we have monthly meetings, we have monthly agendas, why can't that be turned around to say, okay, look, yes, we belong to this community, but this community has a bigger responsibility in the Nigerian space, and therefore begin to also make that as an agenda.
You know, it's difficult to think that any community now will be thinking beyond its immediate need, the way Nigeria is today. Every community is just trying to see how to survive. In fact, it's survival instinct ruling everywhere. It is when the basic needs of man, is it
food,
shelter,
Maslow, yes,
Abraham Maslow's
yes,
hierarchy of needs.
Yes.
That when a man meets his need for food, shelter, the basic things, that he moves to the next level. Most communities in Nigeria are they at a position where they can even strategize and think for the common good of this country. Just like I said, the common man is boxed in a corner. So the communities cannot do much now. In fact, the communities have been overtaken by materialism. Values, are at their lowest ebb in the community because everybody is hungry. People are pursuing money at any cost. A lot of ritual killings everywhere in this country. Even in the midst of all the spiritual activity, even the pastors themselves, I'm sorry for the genuine pastor, but some pastors in this country do all kinds of things to get power, to be able to get money. It's all about the kind of nation we are running now. People are looking at money. Before now, if you lacked integrity and honesty and you had millions, people will ignore you with your money. But today, who cares how you get the money? Once you are driving the biggest car, you are the toast of the community. And you come in there. In fact, many people now come and take over the Igweship, the traditional rulership of their community, whether it's Emirship or Igweship or Obaship, whatever, because they are holding Naira and Kobo, dollars and and euro. And that's where we are today. So issues are plenty. Value, morality, is a major problem. Young people don't see hard work anymore. We're going to come to unemployment issues.
Yes.
Because it has, gotten to the point where even when there are jobs in the economy, the people that will do those jobs are not ready for those jobs. I was discussing with somebody a few days ago, on Facebook. So I'm looking for a job. Okay, what are you doing? Do you read your GMAT every day? Have you got your CV well reviewed? Do you prepare very well for aptitude tests? And then do you read papers, journals, articles to sharpen yourself for interviews? Say, I don't want to take GMAT. That's coming from somebody who needs a job. Someone who needs a job telling me he doesn't want to take a GMAT. That means there is mental laziness.
Already.
We are looking for how to get quick money. In this country, somebody will be well dressed in a better suit than the one I'm wearing now, I'm putting on now. And the person will come to you, tap on your door, please give me money. He's healthy. In every form, he's healthy. But he does not have the sense of duty and hard work. How can the economy develop? So the unemployment in Nigeria is, a mixture of all kinds of issues. Genuine problems in the economy, and then some, false situations in the economy where young people are becoming mentally lazy. They're depending on my uncle will get me a job. Meanwhile, the jobs are there in the street. They can't go and get them.
No, but Orji, we have had guests here who have also said to us that often than not, it is what you have prepared in the young persons that you're also going to get. So if your own generation did not role model the coming generation properly, like, let me give an example. In China, children are being taught how to manage money or how to know what money stands for. In India, in Mexico, in Argentina. I mean, we are saying that there is a structured interest of how children understand finances. Yes.
Mentoring and
yes. But here, the reverse is the case.
Yeah.
There is a consumption that is being shared amongst young persons in Nigeria. Their ability to just consume.
But that's why we normally say that the quality of graduates we churn out these days from the universities, many of them are not employable, and many of them lack the right attitude to pursue
So
their
why
future.
is that? So why blame the
because the
unemployed?
educational system in the country, is almost at a near collapse situation. There again we go. Who do we blame? Do we blame the professors who now, maybe sometimes, not all of them, some of them sleep with students to give them marks. They score A, they come out and say we're looking for a job. They can't write up to test. Who sell handouts, and it doesn't matter whether you do the course or not. Once you buy the handouts, somebody, a real life case again, somebody was talking to me and he said, I need to pay for a handout, and if I don't pay for that handout, I will not pass the course. So it determines that paying the handout is what makes you pass or not. The graduates will come out, they cannot make a single correct English sentence. They can't even speak their own local language. If they now speak fairly well, write it down. They can't write it down. And then the industries are looking for people who have very sound, enviable communication, skills. People who have the right attitude. People who are equipped with all kinds of other skills, managerial skills, who understand team building, who understand operational efficiency and all of that. People who can use the computer, the ICT, input in businesses for business growth. People who can do all that. But our graduate comes out distant from these skills. So you find that first of all, many of them are not employable. Then while you are looking for a job, can you do something to get yourself these skills? Some of them cannot still because they don't have the money. So they managed through the school system. They just manage through. Not manage to be able to come out of school and no money to sponsor their next level. So several issues. Then the jobs, talking about creating the jobs, we know that government is not doing enough. If we open up the economy, in terms of the other sectors of the economy, if we open them up and more is available, those who are at the low level, yes, they can get jobs.
Okay, well, we seem to have all the theories right. It's now where and when to start. That usually will be the question of Nigeria. But again, we'd like to appeal to our viewers. We have said there's only one line, and you're going to send your SMS to that line so we can read out your question, your comment, to our guest here. And we have one from Oyibo. Oyibo says, well, actually, multiple questions for you this time around, so you'll be ready.
Okay.
This is your own aptitude here.
All right.
Okay, it says, in your view, is Nigeria right for state police? That is coming out from the National Confab, where members are suggesting that we should have state police to help us begin to monitor the security level in the country. Then it says, who is a Nigerian? How do you define a Nigerian? Then third is, in your view, can Nigeria be ruled as a pure federalism?
Okay.
Multiple questions for you coming from Oyibo. Thank you, Oyibo.
Oyibo, thank you for this question. Talking about state police, the state policing system, the same reasons why the police system, the way it works now, the same reason why it's not effective, is the same reason why the state police will not be effective.
It's going to be a literal translation.
Because by the time the governors begin to control the state police, they may begin to use the police to do the same thing the president, I'm sorry to say, but it appears the presidency or the powers that be, as they normally say,
it is,
use them to do today.
Yes, okay.
It is about leadership. It's about people knowing what is right to do in a nation and doing them. State police or no state police doesn't solve our problem. National police or no national police doesn't solve our problem. But do people know how to use these instruments of power? If you cannot use it well, whether at local government, even if you make it family police or local police, it will still be the same problem. Because Nigerians have not got that sense that seeking the common good is the best thing for us.
And not individual interest.
Yes. And we keep, men are, generally sometimes very too selfish to the point of death. We are selfish, it's killing us, and we're being more selfish. People who have earned all these monies, who have carted away our national wealth, where are those monies today? When they are dead, how are their families, made better off with those monies? Meanwhile, those monies were acquired for the fourth generation, fifth generation of the family, but in the first generation of the family, they are fighting, killing themselves because of that money. Some of the monies are locked up abroad. So it is cost money, but we are bent on acquiring it. If we have the right president, the right governor, whether we have national police or not, it will be used well.
Okay, that's number one.
For that question.
Then who is a Nigerian?
If we have it right, we have a national identity project properly. I don't know the intention. A question may have a spirit or a letter.
Well, this man, without good representation, on behalf of Oyibo, okay. I'm sure he's asking you both in letter and in spirit. Who is a Nigerian?
Okay, in spirit, A Nigerian is that person who truly identifies with that brand, Nigeria, and who is willing, first of all, to be true to this nation as a Nigeria, before
irrespective of his
tribal or ethnic inclinations, before any other interest.
Not because somebody called a Nigerian.
Yes, somebody who is willing to die for the good of this nation, somebody who is willing to seek the common good of everybody within the boundaries called Nigeria or elsewhere that you find people who belong to it. And then in letter, we don't have a proper national ID system, but in letter it should be that person who's properly identified as a Nigerian by holding a national identity card or other forms of identification in this country, not somebody who walks through Seneme border or another border, comes in and identifies with it and begins to
Okay, all right. My producers are saying that we are running short of time, but you must answer this one. Can Nigeria run as a pure federalism?
Why not? We can. If we have a common sense of purpose and we know that what we are doing now does not work for us, and we have some people who are willing to deny themselves of the perks and powers that they have, Your Excellency, the single most important person in Nigeria, and anybody who enters that position as a president, whether he is good or he is bad, everybody begins to bow to him. So we seem to love that a lot, and that has distracted us from the reason why that person is there as president.
The office.
If we understand the purpose of governance, the reason why government is otherwise, if there's no, people can still run their lives,
without government.
Their own. But why government is there is to coordinate activities and then provide public goods. Security is part of public. In fact, that's the
key.
the single most important reason why government started was security. When the kings, began to tax people to be able to provide security for them. And if any government is not able to provide security for that nation, that government is not worth being in existence.
All right. And that's where we're going to close it on the close flow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Orji. It's been a pleasure having you here.
My pleasure, too.
I do hope that this leadership mentoring will be able to connect with the younger generation so they begin to stop looking at servile role suits and be looking at doing some
entrepreneurship.
Yes, some khaki-clad farming, some back in the villages. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
My pleasure.